Welcome to the Golden Feather. Grab a pint, a plate, and pick your seats. Your hosts, Vertek and Chibi Bree, are back from their latest adventures.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Golden Feather. This is episode 93. Huge big old number. And 93. We have indeed. We have a returning friend of ours, Lyat, popping in to say hello. And how have you been, good sir?
Hello everybody. I've been doing just fine. Rising up back from the old episode 27, I believe it was.
Yep. Back before we even had a really good overlay, actually. I still have a photo here from what I sent you. We didn't even have a proper overlay at that point. I think we were still like working on it.
We were still working on a lot of things. We are still working on a lot of things, but we were still working on a lot of things at that point.
Yeah.
And by the way, Horrendous, thank you so much. Thank you so much. You've been here for a while with us. We really appreciate you, good sir.
Yeah.
And Percent Horrendous just subscribe to Twitch.
Yeah,
Streamlabs. What's your problem? Are you sick?
I think so. Howdy.
Howdy ho.
Howdy ho.
I just saw the overlay. That is actually really gorgeous.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Much appreciated.
I sent Vertek the thing that I sent you way back when, just as like a huge change or difference, I guess, in how things looked. But yeah, back when we were doing little baby podcast things. Wow, I can't believe it was like 2 years ago already.
Yeah, it's been a minute. But so to get into you, sir. Actually, you know what? Before we do that, real quick stuff with the podcast, right? Let us know what we're up to. Then we get to our guest. Take over the feature. So, what kind of stuff did you want to talk about? Because I know you had some stuff that you wanted to share, right?
Talking to me?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Theater elf, thank you. What's up, Ashes and Air?
Oh.
Yeah, wow. 17 months. So good to see you guys too. Stuff to share? Yes. Well, Vertek and I have not that Z. No. But Vertek and I have started doing D&D sessions on my private like Twitch, I think is what you call it. Oh no, what happened? Did you resize the window again, or did we lose the Lyat?
I think we lost a Lyat.
Oh no.
He has expired.
I think Zoom just crashed. Oh no.
Uh-oh. Let's see, can I... Right, yeah, there you go. We'll bring some Z stuff. Ooh, and I'm going to not show that dandy picture. It's beautiful, but... Alright, we'll just hang out like this, I guess. Why not? I got you hanging out like just above my head right here.
Nice. Just like the very bottom of me.
I'll be
right here. But I'm Vertek now, also known as Feather, because that's all they see of the Golden Feather popping up on screen. But yeah, while we wait for our guest to jump back in, we are doing D&D on my Twitch channel on Monday nights, as long as we have people. And I think this week we are going back into Descent of Avernus. It's always my pick. Well, to be fair, Z, we used your pick to figure out how to size things.
Yeah.
So yeah, your pick is hiding behind us.
It was a face to put there while oh hey, it's a hype train.
Oh my gosh, hype train, hi. Z, 7 months, nice. It's apparently asking our guest for a password, so I'm just gonna do this again and let's see if this works. There is no password. So. No
pass. All right. Yeah, because I can only play with this so much. It doesn't let.
Yeah, I know.
Make people dizzy. Looks like a slot machine.
right. Ba-ding ding, ba-ding ding. We are working on making the stream more enjoyable. We know that a podcast can only be so fun and interesting until it's not. So we would like to try and do interesting little things like adding noises to the stream that you can redeem. That'll be like a cheer noise or something. Wow.
Ashes of Terror. Thank you.
Hype, hype,
Appreciate
hype.
it. Continue.
Did you
that
see
hype.
Simric's beard? He dyed it red. I did not see this. I did not.
I
here comes
heard.
Alayat.
I have not seen.
Here comes Alayat.
Entree.
And finally, we think we found somebody for some emotes. So yeah, hopefully soon emotes. Okay, Layat, are you back?
Have you returned it?
Do you hear us? Snap out of it, old friend. He's doing a 24-hour stream. Oh wow. Oh, looking at his beard now. Yeah, the vote was for Phoenix colors. Oh, nice, nice.
All right,
That's fantastic.
I back?
Yay, we're back.
You are back.
Okay,
You are back.
Sorry about that, guys.
Yeah, it's all good.
The desktop version of the application crashed, and I couldn't get it to run again, so I'm now running this in a browser.
Well,
No
you still
bueno.
sound good, so no problems there, I suppose. Sorry about the password thing. There's never been a password on our stuff because it's always custom links each time. So I was like, password? What password?
What password are you speak of?
Well,
Yeah.
I'm back now, so let's get going.
Oh wait, I guess it's this way because I'm not mirrored anymore. This way. Oh yeah.
Well, hey, all right. Well, then let's see if I can try and find an old logo of yours here. But yeah, we're working on making the stream more interesting for everybody. Feel free to send us some info and let us know what kind of stuff you'd like to see us do. Like maybe go back and do another one of those community game nights where we jump into like some
I'll send that to
carefully
him 'cause he's on a
selected
whole other
Jackbox
thing.
games.
I will forward
Nobody
you what
can-
he sent me.
Ooh.
'Cause, oh yeah, by the way, Vertec is now the one streaming everything, everybody, not me.
Yeah, I am now the one to blame when it breaks.
Except for when our guest gets yeeted out of the call. I'd like a Z episode. I
Z
think Z
episode?
misses being on.
Do you really want to pop on again with us? Because we'll get you on again.
Yeah,
We'll
totally.
schedule you. We'll pencil you in our busy schedule.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, as a very advanced notice, next week I may or may not be on the show.
But we may have the Lord of Cults on. But yeah,
Good lord.
to be real, we convinced Vertec to finally take a week break since I've ever met him. we're
Yeah,
not
I don't do
moving.
vacations really.
No.
So it's time I did one, so I'm gonna hop on the motorcycle and go visit friends that are like a couple hours away and take a cruise around, and Friday might be on the road. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
come
sounds like a
on.
good time.
Yeah, I'm really happy for him because I'm always mad at him. Like when he's sick, he won't even take. I'm like, you are sick. You need to rest. Please take a night. He's like, no, I'm fine. I can work. Stop it.
No, I'm fine. Bleh.
Yeah, right? Can Twitch chat spam? I don't know what that means. I don't think Twitch has the capability of chat spamming. Only chat can chat spam.
Yeah, I think it's backwards. It's the people that spam chat in Twitch, not Twitch that spams the chat of people.
I'm only saying that because of the meme face afterwards. So going along with the meme face there. Thank you guys so much for getting us to level 2. So sweet of you guys. Thank you. So happy to have you guys back. But no, seriously, on a really honest and sincere note, you giving us feedback is really what helps us improve. And otherwise, without it, we're like scratching our heads going, I don't know what to do. What do you think would be good? I don't know. What do you think would be good? So.
I'm getting this ready. Almost done.
Oh, good. I am just, filling up the space. So Lyat, I will, if it's okay with Vertec, pop us straight into the intro of the guest stuff.
Sure.
It's been a while, to be frank. It's been about 2 years. What have you been up to as the Cyan Firefly?
Well, to be honest, with the kind of content I've been looking to produce for the Ashes of Creation, I haven't had a whole lot to do because the lore of the game isn't really going to be out until the game releases. I have made a couple of trial stuff here and there, nothing that you guys really haven't seen before. Lately, I've been doing some live streaming. I got some footage for the recent alpha up. That was pretty fun.
There we go.
Were you guys involved in the alpha at all?
Yeah, we both backed a while back. I was actually telling somebody else that if I hadn't backed in the Kickstarter, I don't think I would have had the income to support Alpha 1 now. But yeah, we got a little bit of time in on it. It was
not as much as we wanted.
Yeah, we've both been super busy.
I hear you there.
Yeah, this man works enough for 2 jobs, but is only getting paid for 1, in my personal and humble opinion.
I mean, honestly, some weeks it's not an opinion. Some weeks I actually hit almost 80 hours.
Yeah.
And I'm salaried, so.
Yeah.
Oof.
Ouch.
Yeah.
But it's half my own choice and the other half my own fault. I keep volunteering for stuff, trying to make sure I get a good job review, and I'm trying to learn everything I can so that, you know, I start getting those big pay raises, make the big bucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. We'll see.
Wrong way.
Either way, I'm learning a lot, so it balances out.
That's the important part. Put your nose to the grindstone and keep learning, right?
Yeah, yeah. And sorry, I was slightly distracted there. Did you say you had access to the alpha stuff?
Yes, I was in a lot of Alpha 1, so I participated in quite a few of the weeks. I don't think... I didn't get to play as much as I wanted, you know, same as you. I do a lot of work. I'm in IT, so that's fun.
Kind of the same here. I'm somewhat IT.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I say that because it's like a cyber/physical product world I'm playing in right now. But yeah, there were some fun things happening over the alpha, and
a lot of bears.
Yeah, a lot of bears. All the bears.
So
I guess the big question everyone was passing around before, during, and after is, in your opinion, was it worth it to this point to spend that money to get access to alpha?
So if I'm going to be strictly honest with you, what I want the game to be is not what Alpha 1 is. Now, I understand that the game is still, you know, obviously being made, and a lot of the features that I'm really interested in aren't in it yet. That's just how development works. Right now, it's a pretty generic MMO experience, and it's a solid experience. It's just, this is all stuff I've done before. So, and then you repeat it multiple times over several months. It gets a little monotonous. But once they have the augment system in it, once they have stuff like the monster tokens and like the full node system, then I'm going to see a lot more value out of my money, especially at the tier I backed. But for right now, it is what it is. I enjoyed what I played.
I would say likewise. I know there was a lot of player drop-off later in the Alpha 1 just because people... I mean, it was a back-end, like systems and basically architecture test. So, I mean, there was a lot of, hey, let's test this stuff. Okay, it broke. Let's fix it. By the way, all your characters are no longer in existence.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of had to know that going in, but I definitely felt the, going through this again. All right, what's the quickest way I can get up to level to get back to where I was so I can finish testing all this stuff instead of continually testing this beginning part.
Yeah,
but,
I definitely agree.
That had to have been soul crushing for some people that aren't used to that, but they were excited to play and test, but they haven't really done the alpha testing thing. I could see it crushing some spirits.
And then when you consider people who work, 40, 50, 60-hour weeks, having to redo all of your progress every single week, it's like, nah, I don't know if I want to do this again this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kept waiting for the Castle Siege level boosts. Come on, get me up there, get me up there. Let's do this.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't come, at least not on the days I was playing anyway.
No, to be fair, I feel like this is something that should have been expected going into it. Sorry for the loud click noise. I felt like this should have been something we expected going into it, just because it's being put out there and accessible by so many more new people than the previous stages. Now, I did say earlier that I did buy in at Kickstarter, but I imagine if I had paid $500 currently, yeah, it'd still be worth it to me personally, because not only do I get Alpha 1, I get access to Alpha 2, Beta 1, Beta 2. I don't have to buy those separately later down the road. And any new and fun and unexpected testing that arises from that is something that is just kind of fun to be a part of, because I always like hearing, oh, hey, there's a test going up. And there's been a couple of times where I just wasn't paying close enough attention previous to like Alpha 1 that I heard like the bears thing, for example. I ended up missing that because I was working or I was doing something, and suddenly I got home and, oh, by the way, there's like testing happening, and sorry, the door opened and it scared me. But basically it's just that little bit of a FOMO that I don't have to worry about necessarily. Well, to be fair, it just like it's silence, and then out of nowhere the door creaked open, so I had no idea what was happening. But it's a little bit of a FOMO that having the ability to join in, I don't have to miss out on, and that's just my opinion. I think all of those mini random little tests along the way of, quick, get in here, here's some random Steven shenanigans, like, I think it's worth it. It's fun, it's memorable.
Yeah, there was a moment in the very first Alpha 1 event I participated in. I think it was just before the NDA dropped. There was a Castle Siege test, and I rushed in to, participate in that, and, everybody's battling back and forth, and I see Steven making a message that just says, "I'm doing something, hold on."
Yeah.
And then there's shadows, and then I look up and there's just bears. Just the entire skybox is filled with bears.
Raining fur and muscle. And thank you, Keybind Gaming. Thanks for stopping in. But yeah, for me, it was totally worth it. Absolutely. I mean, there's also a difference with if you got in during Kickstarter and if you got in afterwards. Because if you got in during the Kickstarter, you got the bonus of the lifetime sub, which makes it 1,000% absolutely worth it.
I can agree with that.
Even if I got in after Kickstarter, I would still say it was worth it, because I used to do alpha beta testing of games a lot. Like, that's just what I did to keep myself entertained and not spend money on a game. And so I'm used to the process, but I haven't believed in any of those games and wanted to see them come to fruition. So as soon as they went live and started charging money, I dropped it and went to the next one. That's all I did. As soon as I had to pay for it, I left. And I'm finding this a whole different experience because I want to see this one completed. So, submitting feedback and whatnot just feels more valuable to me. It feels more like I'm contributing to something that I want to succeed, instead of just, I'm here to play a free game. I don't care if it's broken.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Should we look at some of the things the chat said?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So Herenda says, me too. If I had known there wasn't going to be freeholds in real crafting and gathering, I wouldn't have paid the $500. In Steven's defense, he did say everything was going to be super rudimentary. And I think you could buy house. So I think technically there was the freehold, but I don't know what went on with that because I didn't ever make enough to get a house anyway.
The houses weren't the freeholds. That was the in-node housing for the buildings. You couldn't like go build a freehold out in the world.
Okay. Well, that doesn't seem like a super core system. That seems like something later. And there was a lot of emphasis on it being very, very core in terms of things that are being tested in this case. So like combat and will the node break because there's 20 of us in there, aka yes, because there was so much rubber banding.
Yes. And that stuff's definitely important to get down. Getting the feel of the game right is critical. So,
and without that, you can't do things like the freehold and proper crafting later. So I think it's, interesting. But then, yeah, there's good testing on core systems, says Horrendous, and that he thinks that we accomplished a lot, and I agree. So completely understand that there. Ashes and Error says, totally worth it for me. I am painfully aware of the alpha grind and burnout from other games, so that wasn't an issue. I am loving what the game is doing so far. And the housing was pretty buggy too. People lost access all the time. Oh no, and the chest after a server start, that sucks. Ugh. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Fun times. But yeah, I think overall, like Horrendous said, we accomplished a lot. Like a lot of stuff got fixed up, and it was really due to people just wanting to get in there and test the game. Be it for the reasons of like a couple of people who put out review videos saying that they think it was worth it to play to buy into the Alpha 1 so they can play the game a lot. And even though they don't really mention testing in their review, they just mention playing the game and enjoying playing the game. I mean, that's still, valuable input. It's, hey, yeah, I'm enjoying where this is going.
Yeah.
But other people who are really there to test things and break stuff, like they were definitely breaking stuff. So, mission accomplished, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were also breaking security things, which is not so fun. But hey, that's an important thing to break so that later there's less security problems.
Yeah, break it now.
Yeah. Yeah, there was some guy, I guess, broke the economy with the amount of gold that he hacked in or something.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Apparently he was just walking around throwing out money to everybody.
Yeah. Who wants gold? Have it. I swim under so many waterfalls and crevices. I
kept looking for secret doors.
I found secret doors in death. I would die and then fall through the world and then die again somehow. That was an interesting experience for me. Like
double death.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I know.
Still have my eyes out for the sandal.
Right?
Yeah, Sandalia.
That's the thing that Z is like, where was Sandalia? And I was like, was that a quiz? Because I don't know the answer. I think I'm gonna fail it.
I still hold the honor of being the first sacrifice to the sandal, but that was way back in APOC.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, we ended up at the end of one of our streams. We raided somebody else, and Z took him on a wild goose hunt looking for Sandalia. He hadn't heard the term before because I don't think he was around at all during the APOC days. I think he was one of the newer editions. Why am I blanking on his name? Asmongold. Yeah, I think he was one of the Asmongold referees.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so he was like, Sandalia, what's that? And he just ran around going, well, I found something that looked kind of mysterious, and I thought that was just awesome. He just jumped right on and started running wild with it.
I feel like the hunt for that has died down a little bit, though. People don't seem to be as interested in hunting down the sandal temples anymore as they were in APOC. There used to be entire threads on the forums about that.
Have you seen Sandalia? An APOC thread.
Yeah, I think the difference now is that there's so many people that couldn't stream it. And so now a lot of those conversations are probably happening in streams and out in like Discord and whatnot instead of having to be in the forums well, no, I guess with APOC it wasn't really under wraps, was it?
No, it wasn't.
Yeah,
but
I
then,
don't know.
It could just be that those are kind of like older memes at this point. They were more in jokes when the community was smaller.
And that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
Well, also, my favorite thing with the new people are telling them the whole story. They're like, why is there a sandal? What is this whole sandal? Why is there a shrine of a sandal? Like, oh, well, you see, Steven a long time ago, and then like start explaining to them the story of like how Sandalio came to be and like the missing sandal and stuff like that.
What happened was...
Yeah.
When I did meet Steven in real life at PAX East in 2017, he was definitely wearing the sandals. I can tell you that much.
Yeah. I think in the stream today, he was saying something about not being allowed to wear sandals. Somebody was like, why isn't he allowed to wear sandals? Ashes of Nair. I like the split body animation combat way better. I find the current A1 combat better than both ESO and Final Fantasy 14. Okay, so it's choppy for you guys too. Okay, I thought it was just me.
No, it just went choppy.
Okay.
Speed up a little bit.
Sound was good. Video is a little choppy. Okay, got it. Guild Wars 2 might still be better, but honestly, I think the A1 combat stacks up against many of the released MMOs. It's all subjective, obviously, but there can be improved combat from A1. Have a blast, I think. Yeah, I agree. Maybe what I'll do is I'll pop out the chat and then hide away the stream and see if that helps, because technically I'm watching the stream. Can I pause the stream? Oh, I'll pause the stream. There we go. I'll just pause the stream. See if that helps out.
I don't know. Somebody should go grab Steven and ask him why he can't wear sandals.
Right.
Pull him into the podcast.
Takeda, welcome in. Yeah. What's the story behind Steven not being able to wear sandals anymore? I have no idea. That's a good question.
No clue.
It's just something he said on the stream today. I was like, what? Maybe it's because he loses them too much.
Yeah, I mean, that's possible. Oi. Do it, Z says.
I would like to have Steven back
if
on
only.
eventually. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get him back on
Let me
one
know
of these
if
days.
the stream like levels back out, because I stopped watching. I paused things.
Yeah, it's still dropping a couple frames here and there.
Okay. Recently, today when I went to look at the internet stuff, we realized that we were kind of quote unquote maxing out the internet, if you will. There's like a bar and the usage was all the way to the right. I don't know what that means for us specifically. It just, we use the internet a lot.
Yeah, like 1.8 terabytes last month of traffic.
And then 1.9 the first time we got here. Yeah. So a lot of internet being used. I mean, I listen to music and stuff all the time. Maybe they throttle you. That's what I'm thinking, because we're towards the end of the month, and so I'm thinking the new month will like redo it. But yeah, I'm thinking we're being throttled currently.
Who are you using for an ISP?
Comcast.
Yeah. Well, you see, we moved 10 minutes away, and suddenly Verizon is not an option anymore with the fiber internet we had. I was like, fiber.
Could always be end of line issues too. Not to get too technical, but
oh no,
yeah.
We could probably nerd out about this off cam anytime. But yeah, that's okay.
So,
I'll hang out with chat. Chat will be live for me.
There we are. Oh, okay. Well, hey, if everyone else is complaining about it, then maybe it's not just
good.
us. I mean,
make us feel a little bit
it's
better.
not necessarily good, but I mean, yeah, I was gonna say it's better for us. Stinks
that
overall.
We're not the only one. Yeah.
There's too many hot tub streams going on. They need priority access. Is what it is. They gotta make sure the important streamers get their bandwidth.
Oh my gosh.
or those live streams of people just eating a bunch of food.
Hey, the Crookies! Welcome in. Starlink can't get here quick enough, but that doesn't help with the issue is Twitch. Yeah, that's fair. was glad to hear about the Vec. I was sure, yes, the Vec, and actually, Z would be super excited about this because they were saying that they got a lot of the feedback from the community, and they're reworking the the Vec. So, yeah, spinning gorilla hot tub stream is nice.
Now, there was a topic that I kind of want to bring up. I've been seeing some complaints lately. There are people who don't like the look of the dwarves. What's the problem there? As far as I was concerned, they looked sufficiently like Lord of the Rings.
For Z, because I think either Z or Loa. One of them, whoever had the problem with the dwarves, were saying that it looked a little too boxy for them.
Huh.
Like it didn't look like, huh?
I think it was opposite. They're not boxy enough. They look like little halflings or hobbits instead of like dwarves that are more boxy and like bulky.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to get a quote from one of them.
Now, are we basing that off of the current models in the game?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I'm guessing, yeah.
Okay. Because, I mean, the concept art, they definitely look good.
I went boulders with legs.
Oh my gosh, dwarfs. Holy crap, dwarfs. I haven't heard that word in forever.
Dwarfs?
Dwarf Fortress. Don't get me started.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I've always been an elf. People hate me because I'm an elf. It's okay. I'm used to it.
It's okay. I join you as a fellow knife here.
Right. Thank you. I kind of want there, so side tangent, I'm sorry, but I kind of want there to be like a combination between elf and genasi for D&D, just because it would just be awesome.
Oh yes, the elemental people. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Point-eared humans.
Just saying, I learned something about the Vec today. Just maybe I haven't done enough reading on them, but they're supposed to be, what was it, goblin-like or troll-like?
Yes, so they're one of the subspecies of orcs, so that would make them goblin folk, effectively.
Yeah, I thought that they were both very orc-based and just took different paths, like two human varieties that we have, like the sub-races are still very human-like. They're just slightly different. I thought it was going to be something like that, not like there's an orc and then there's a very not orc, but same, I guess, intellect and skin tone.
Orc, but not.
And yeah, general non-human-like qualities, and that's about it.
I think the current dwarf models are okay for the denier. One is a warrior, the other is not. Yeah. So,
the Nikwa.
There was actually, this kind of brings up a good question to me. There was something I came across, was like a poll, and it was, what kind of content do you want? And they were doing it for like market research just to see what people wanted. And it was, I've been loving making content for Ashes of Creation recently. This is from u/revac. And I would love to see what kind of content people want at this stage. And so they're like, oh, information regarding lore, game mechanic breakdowns, condensing official content and dev updates, other MMO comparisons, and then comment below. But a lot of people are looking for like game mechanic kind of breakdowns, apparently, based off of this. And then closely behind that was lore. And then behind that was like, please break down the live stream.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised that the game mechanic breakdowns took on the biggest, because that's what people were complaining about so far, is like, why are we hearing all this stuff about things you need to know about whatever system when the game's not even close to being complete? Just stop making those videos. We don't know everything yet. It's all going to change.
Well,
and that's
I guess
what Reddit got known for.
Yeah.
Yeah, the big mechanical breakdowns don't make much sense at this stage, because we don't know how augments are gonna work yet. We don't know how any of that stuff's gonna work yet.
Yeah.
I know how it's gonna work. It's gonna work amazingly.
I feel like this is one of those situations where the people that yell speak the loudest. But the people that are actually interested in the masses who don't really yell don't get their voice heard. So like the people yelling on Reddit are like, stop showing us your game mechanics, we don't care. And then the more soft-spoken ones are like, I see some game mechanics, I don't know, and I didn't get access to Alpha 1. Steven had previously stated the VEC were the smallest race. Now it's not. Yelling. Yeah,
that I think I missed that one too, because I know I'd heard that they were going to be like the smallest. I think it was one of the smallest is what I thought. Like the smallest not dwarf race is the general idea that I got. And don't ask me where exactly I heard that or where I got the information from. I just, over the years, I've collected that into my brain that it's the smallest not dwarf.
Smallest not dwarf. I like it.
Yeah.
Way back, Jeff said there were 2 small races. Ah, okay. Did he say the smallest or one of the smallest? It's a good question.
Well, you could also take 2 small races as meaning the Dunir and the Nukia.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, technically, that's a true statement.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least in the way they talk, anyway. That there's they've been calling those sub races for the most part. So
I think we're triggering necrokeys.
And augments. Nice.
Could have been one of the smallest, and I remembered it wrong. Small also does not mean short. True. Could just mean size-wise is a small tribe, a small village.
Yeah, fair enough.
Not
fair
height.
enough.
Who knows? Who knows?
They're certainly not the smallest in intellect, though, because they're smart. They guide things by the stars and stuff.
That's Vertec feeling a little hurt over the VEC.
Yes, maybe.
Do I detect some salt in your diet?
Yes.
It's delicious. I love it. It sustains me. Small as in thinner. Yeah, there we go. I'm okay with that. I mean, honestly, if I'm going to be a tank, I'm going to be a funny looking, like, sleeper tank. I'm not going to be the big brutish orc. I'll be fine with that. Oh, no, I didn't want big and bulky. I just didn't think that they were, troll/goblin-like. I thought they were more like just a smaller orc.
Mm-hmm.
Like orc, but a little bit smaller, because they didn't focus on, like, going out and, eating trees for breakfast and punching mountains down.
Yeah. I don't know. For me, I feel like I'd be one heck of a tank. I'd be like this tiny little thing that looks totally not threatening at all. So this thing I'm about to link is quite long. But the synopsis of it is talking about player quality versus player quantity, the influence of each for development. Too small to hit. Exactly. See, I just dodge, quote unquote, just by like sinking down a little bit and just moving to the side. Just go. Can't hit me, I'm too tiny.
Yeah. I think I've actually talked about this before. I call it the odd job meta.
Yeah. I think orc versus
Accurate.
trolls and WoW. Yeah. Character slider height for Vertec.
I like it. Yeah, I just don't want to look like Shaggy is all. Like Shaggy with like an orc tone to him.
From
Yeah.
Scooby-Doo Shaggy?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Like I just don't want that. Like I don't want to be the troll. I'd be okay if it were like the orcs, but just like thin them down because they didn't go bench pressing, I don't know, bears all day long. That's fine.
Play a gnome called a what hitbox. I like that. Oh man.
If I make a rogue, that's what I'm gonna name it.
What hitbox?
What hitbox?
Nice.
The tiniest dwarf that ever did dwarf.
Exactly. It's the dwarfiest of dwarfs. So quality players versus quantity players. Quality players, as they say, squeeze the experience created by the developers, bring positive and negative atmosphere to the MMO, support the development of the game by contributing logistical, concentrated, critical feedback, promote the MMO or destroy it, general competitiveness inside and out the MMO, contribute to generating a population more faithful to the MMO, contribute to the generation of content or improving it in their own way, which I feel like is very much 90% of the Ashes base, if you guys agree.
Yeah, I could see it.
But then the quality of players give the MMO the highest monetary profit. They don't necessarily get full MMO experience. I feel like this depends on how the game is done, but definitely like when a lot of stuff has already been done, there's not much for you to do except for new stuff. So you aren't going to get the full experience in terms of from the very first day, unless you're there from the very first day, but you're still going to get quite an experience, in my opinion. Consider that the MMO must have characteristics that adapt to them for their own benefit, support the development of the game by feedback, provide the necessary amount of population for the MMO, help developers with ideas, and in most cases should not be implemented or used. I'm not really sure how I feel with that, because if there's enough feedback like we just saw with the dwarves, clearly that is something that should be taken into consideration. But what do you guys think of the contrast there, I suppose?
I personally just want with chat here, Ashes of Never saying don't really like the phrasing of the topic. It feels a little elitist.
Yeah.
I would agree with the phrasing of that until actually reading through it a little bit, because they're even praising the existence of highly negative people that bring like a negative atmosphere, and where was the other part? Contributing critical feedback, promote the MMO or destroy it. So even people who are trying to tear it down by criticizing it, they're considering quality players. So I think it's more of the quality players are giving more feedback. They're contributing more towards, hey, this is broken, or hey, I love this. Instead of the quantity players, which are just like, hey, cool, free game. Let me go ahead and play it. And they jump in, oh, cool, spend a couple bucks, and then they disappear after, a couple weeks without saying a peep except for getting in there and playing.
There's some awkward phrasing in this discussion.
Yeah, I agree.
mean,
there is.
You could easily replace quality players with hardcore players and quantity players with casuals.
Yeah.
Because that's basically what you're describing here.
Yeah, I agree. I think that may have been a better approach for them to take in terms of the topics, but
and it's weird because they already use that term higher up.
Yeah. I'm not sure. In terms of like what they were at, like their end goal in that entire conversation was specifically outside of just explaining some differences in how the influence of each group is on development. That overall I got, but in terms of choosing this specific terminology is something I'm not quite sure of.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I think this is something that most people fundamentally understand, at least if they've participated in any MMO community before. So I'm more trying to suss out the point of this entire thing, because I think this is all points that people have already arrived at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so. It's just I think the simplification of narrowing it down to like the quality players being hardcore and quantity players being casuals might be just a touch inaccurate, just because they are saying that consider that the MMO must have characteristics that adapt to them for their own benefit. They could totally be hardcore, buy in on everything they can, be crazy about something, but then as soon as they bump into something that they don't like and the game doesn't adapt to how they want it to be played, then all right, I'm out of here. But they didn't really make a peep about it. They were just like, "Beh, this is whatever." And they just pass it up for the next thing in line. Like, they were totally hardcore while they were there, but they just weren't, trying to take care of the game, so to say, by giving deeper input on stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's some awkward phrasing here and there. It makes you kind of think on who exactly they're talking about in some of it, but I think in the end it was more of a more thoughtful than the surface makes it seem kind of post.
Yeah. How influential is Reddit to changes in the game as opposed to the forums on Discord? Oh, are you asking like how much of Reddit's input is influential. I don't think maybe as much as people are giving it credit for. It's certainly a good place for, I guess, general community who, kind of like Vertec and I were already talking about the other night. If you have a group of people on YouTube who don't go to Twitch because of the hot tub streamers, you're gonna have a harder time converting them over to YouTube. People go to Reddit because they already have a Reddit account and they don't have to leave their favorite site to go give feedback on Ashes. I think it's essentially the same thing of what happened here, but there was a lot of feedback because throughout Alpha 1 you have that feedback forum, and there's the entire thread dedicated to it. I think that it's not really one or the other that's more used in basing their decisions. I think it might be a culmination, like taking in a lot of things, realizing that things on Reddit may need to be taken with a grain of salt depending on who's writing it and what stance they're coming from. But I think taking in across the board your community in general is the important thing to look at here, which I feel like they do a very good job of, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Well, I like Necroki's statement. Casual could mean time played or dedication or just general mindset, followed up with many are just chasing the next hot things like some streamers hides. Yeah, that's the case. And what's funny and what really cracks me up is some of those streamers, they will jump from one to the next, and every single one, they are so into this game. This is the most amazing thing ever. Until one day the next thing comes along and they kind of walk away from the old thing that they were so psyched about. Mm-hmm. And now they're so psyched about this next thing.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because in terms of you as a person making your content, maybe that is your content. Boarding the hype train, checking things out, being excited about it, and then going on to the next exciting thing.
Yeah.
I mean, when it comes to producing content, it's an effective strategy for boosting your numbers. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, but then there's also people that are variety streamers, you know, so they look for the new things that are interesting and cool and try to get in on it. Well, it is who and how. Wait, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say the only one that gets me in the streamers I was really talking about are the ones that they don't have like that game that they just hold on to. And then, you know, the variety part comes in with playing some other games when they want to just take a break from the main game, or, you know, when they've hit a certain point where they've gotten all the content that they care about for now, and they'll come back to it in a week or two and they want to play some other stuff. Mm-hmm. But the ones that sound like this is the game to end all games. Every single time a new one comes out, this is the game to end all games. This is the most amazing.
Like when Ashes started getting its like traction, people were like, "This is the WoW killer." We're like, "No, it's not."
WoW is Blizzard is the WoW killer.
Yeah.
Yeah, as it turns out.
As it always has been, as it always will be.
Yeah. Necroki says, "Well, it is who and how it is explained. 10,000 people screaming does not help the devs, but many posts that explain in detail the issues and why can help look at it from the player's views." And I agree, Necrokis, that's a very good point. And that's kind of what I was meaning is the people that are screaming, like, this game sucks. Okay, well, you're not giving me any feedback to go off of, so I'm going to ignore your opinion. I'm sorry you feel that way, but you're not giving me like anything to like look into. Why does it suck? What made it suck? How does it suck? You know, things like that.
And then
but I think that's what I like the most, like searching through Reddit and finding these well put together like posts and things where people are trying to convey, trying to communicate, versus the people in the comments just being like, this game sucks, it's never coming out, lol, or something like that. I don't know. Whatever that person's opinion is.
I also feel like there's some people in the community, and I'm not going to name any names or anything like that seem to overvalue their own opinion and their own input on the game more than I feel like they really should, because most of the most of the input that we can put in as players right now isn't as valuable to the devs as you might think it is, because of how raw the game is and how so unfinished it is. Because everything that we're looking at right now is completely like, it's just completely not the final version. So what you're currently experiencing and commenting on and forming an opinion about, it's not what the devs are even intending it to be. So you're forming an opinion of how quality it's going to be based off of.
Yeah, I was going to say when there's no quality there yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the systems and how they're breaking and how people can find ways to break the game is valuable. And honestly, I think with this past alpha, commenting on combat was especially helpful, because they were focusing a lot on getting combat right. But yeah, outside of those things, I would definitely agree. Like, I think people sharing feedback and getting used to sharing a lot of feedback is a healthy thing, though.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because once they really start playing around with this stuff, if people are already used to sharing a whole lot, and they're trying to focus on different things at the same time, like multiple teams looking at multiple stuff instead of everybody focusing on a few things like right now, then it's going to be super helpful down the line.
Yeah. And honestly, coming from the player standpoint, like, please, if you are dissatisfied with the game, share that. It's not, we're not, I think that those of us saying like, oh, that person just said the game sucked, like, I think what they're trying to say isn't like, don't say the game sucks. If the game sucks, explain why. Just put some communication in there. Goodness. Replace Tank with Druid, Necrocues. You are already on my good side with that. I mean, not really with the replacing tank part, but giving Druid a place. You are on my good side for that one.
Necrocues just wants to add more bears to the next alpha phase is all.
I'm so done with bears.
No more bears. The 5,000 was enough. Man.
100 bears dropping on me while I'm trying to kill a dragon. Please no.
Okay. Necrocues says, how is Bless? I don't know what COS is. Crowfall, etc. going. Not even New World is losing steam, and WoW losing steam due to the different player base that's being not being listened to. Yeah, I see that. I'm not really sure how the other ones are going. I'm actually mainly just focused on Ashes. I'm not really interested in other MMOs at the moment, but that's something I'm interested in knowing. I know people who are a part of other MMOs like those ones.
I hear very lukewarm things about them.
Yeah, me too, actually.
New World, though, I've heard kind of polar opposite opinions. Some people say they had a lot of fun with it, more fun than any of the other MMOs out right now. And others are saying it's meh. And that's the best I get from them out of that.
I think the biggest thing that I'm hearing about New World is that it's not what they said it was going to be. So that's what's pissing a lot of people off.
Yeah. I could see that. I was actually hanging out in somebody's stream earlier who I think played Crowfall, and they were interested in Crowfall, but mainly because to them, it was the whole idea behind Crowfall that they're interested in, like the fact that your character is not permanent, but rather being enlisted in a bunch of different lengths of D&D games, if you will. That's how he explained it. I haven't tried it, so I have no idea, but yeah. Changing and forming courses. Okay, so Horrendous says, do you think that the dev discussions have an impact on staff, meaning the impact of being able to change and form core systems, or is it mainly for the to keep the community engaged? It's a good question.
I think it's more the latter. Yeah, the dev discussions are more for the community than they are for the team, just because it's a public-facing discussion.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that was pretty much it.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that they do take some of that into consideration, and it may have started as a Maggie came on board and said, hey, let's do this thing where we ask them what they want to see, like what are some questions you guys would ask if you could. maybe it started that way, but I think informing them of what really interests people and why, it probably forms, even subconsciously, how they approach things in the future, because they're going to start to create something or draw something or just in any way sculpt some form of the game, and they're going to think back to that one time they heard the dev discussion where people said this thing, and it's going to just subconsciously at least shape a little bit of what goes on after that.
Yeah, I could see that, because I think that having that feedback is really important to the devs in terms of, okay, what kind of player base are we working with here? What are they used to in terms of things? What do they like? And I think maybe it helps with a little bit with hitting and throwing mud against the wall for them. Like, okay, well, this is something that we saw very commonly among the answers of our last dev discussion. Perhaps this might be a way that we could implement it this way in our game to make it more interesting for them, given that kind of stuff. But I think it definitely is a good way to bring. It's like the thing you do when you first start streaming, like, hey guys, how you guys been doing? What have you been up to? Did you eat anything interesting? Like, I feel like that's their way of doing that, where they're keeping the player base engaged and communicative and discussing things and stuff like that. Honestly, I kind of look forward to them. I like having that talking point because it's still interesting. Some are definitely more interesting to me than others are in terms of dev discussions. But yeah, Necroki says that dev discussions are a two-way street, as they can inform the community on a subject, then the devs can gauge the reaction also. Yeah, pretty much exactly what I was saying.
And just like Ashes and Era said, why not both?
Yeah.
I guess I just feel that most of them dissolve into 50 pages of noise.
Possibly, but
this is true.
It is partially their job. If you're putting that question out there, I feel like you should be prepared to go through all of those pages and read what people have to say.
Oh, most certainly. I'm just glad it's not my job.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Some of the guild dev discussions were a little thin or reaching. Yeah. I hear that. I think maybe there are things that they're planning on implementing possibly, and getting a idea of a reaction might be what they're going for.
You also can think of maybe some of that stuff might be a little sneaky way of saying, okay, how can we get some people to look and apply for certain guilds? How can we get guilds to grow? Yeah. Well, let's put out a question, and then people from guilds are going to answer it, and someone's going to say, hey, I love that answer, and they're the guild leader for whatever. Mm-hmm. Let me go ahead and apply to that guild.
Mm-hmm. There's that too.
Helping communities grow by putting out a question and asking for feedback. Yeah,
exactly. And knowing that with how many people are so excited for Ashes of Creation, that there is a lot of people prepared with guilds already, as is evident with us because we are in the Nexus Guild. So I think gamers by default and MMORPGs want a community to be a part of, and part of that community is the inner guild community. And having a group of people that are semi like-minded to you is an important thing, and finding somebody who you vibe with in terms of gameplay is important. I'm definitely not going to be vibing with the people that are going super hardcore all the time, because the reality is I can't go super hardcore all the time. So, yeah.
Well, I would if I could. If I can just get those big bucks I'm aiming for at work, then I can dial back how many hours I work for, and then I'll have totally like all the time I want to play games. It'll be great.
Crazy knowing guilds are normally not a focus until phase 4 close beta. Yeah, well, I mean, it's just questions. I mean, I think they do have some guild implementations, but I feel like it's normal for a regular MMO. Ashes has the Castle Siege, which implements the guild stuff. So I think it's still a core part of theirs, is building in a little bit of that core part is guild stuff.
Indeed.
But talking about MMOs and guilds and stuff, what about talking about old school MMOs versus new school MMO perspectives. And
I don't think like super old school MMO players would survive in today's MMO world very well. And likewise go in the other direction. Like, and I'm talking about the typical, not everyone, and not just as a rule so much as like the typical. Like if you just literally transplanted them.
I was gonna say I'm a WoW baby. Can you explain what is old MMO that is so different from new MMO, and what makes it so vastly different that the other couldn't really survive in it?
It would be, let's put it in like D&D/Pathfinder terms. It would be the difference between a GM that is all about realism and is all about risk, reward, making choices, and you have to role play. And how your role play is going to decide how well your roles get potentially augmented down the line.
Okay.
Versus new school MMOs they're like the Exandria Unlimited. Hey, yeah, you totally just made me laugh. I'm going to give you a point there. I'm going to give you some inspiration. Just do with what you wish. And very much lighthearted, the rule of cool, all that fun stuff. Like more
about having fun and less about being realistic kind of thing.
Yeah, like the old school MMOs were very hardcore. Like there was a lot of challenging elements because challenge is what it was all about, and social stuff. You had to make an effort to be social and an effort to go do things. It wasn't just handed to you. Today it's all about how can we make the person have everything they could possibly need at their fingertips.
Okay.
Older MMOs were also very, very much about gating progress behind long periods of grinding and repetitive tasks, whereas...
So the hardcore raiders of now, kind of.
Yeah, but I mean, even hardcore raiders now don't have to deal with the same wall scales that you had to deal with way back in the day, where you would have to run a more hardcore dungeon like 200 times just to get through it once, because you had to learn how to beat the damn thing.
That makes sense.
But again, there's exceptions to everything. There were very handholdy games back then, and there are some very tough ones and very grindy ones nowadays too. But
okay.
That's true.
As a general idea, if you were to transplant the most current attitude, aptitude, and interest gamer from today and drop them in like a typical old school game, they would probably just not play games again ever.
Oh man.
And
Star
likewise,
Wars Galaxy exception.
Yeah, you take some of the people who are really into like UO, which is like the PvP shards of UO especially. That's like hardcore is only for the headstrong.
Do either of you play Final Fantasy 14?
We did. And then our group started getting I can't decide what class I want to be. And wait, no, I know you started working on that class, but actually this person wants to be that class instead. And like they did that too many times. We both just kind of stopped logging in one day and haven't been back.
I mean, that's kind of unfortunate. That shouldn't really be a thing in any group, in my opinion. But
yeah,
especially with that game, because you can just level all the classes. Like that's not.
Well, I think that's what kind of lent to it, to be honest.
Yeah. But because like the OG of the group were like, oh well, I'm usually the white mage. I'm like, okay, I'll try dancer. Wait, actually, so they decided they want to try dancer. Okay, I'll try this. Well, actually, this other person. All right, never mind.
More, what I'm saying is like nobody should have told you, well, I'm gonna play that, so you can't play that. Like that's something I feel doesn't belong in that game. But more to my point, bringing up that game, it's more like even if you take modern Final Fantasy 14, which is a very, very friendly game, it's very focused on, leading you through everything. It's extremely hand-holding, and I'm not like making comments that these are bad things in the context of that game. I actually very like 14. But if you took somebody who the only game that they had ever played was 14, and if you even took them and dropped them in vanilla WoW, they would be so lost. They would have no idea what to do.
Yeah, and see, I'm of the same kind of mindset. Like, there's nothing against. I mean, I kind of have something against it, but I'm not gonna like fault anybody who likes that play style of like the current stuff, because I can see the appeal of it. It's just I like a little bit of a mix. Like some of the newer things and some of the older MMOs are good. I'd like something in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, it's all about different flavors of play. And, you know, I play Final Fantasy XIV for a specific experience, and I'm going to be playing Ashes of Creation for a very different experience. And I do not want those games to be the same.
Yeah, no.
Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Happy balance.
If our podcast was the Do Not Laugh challenge, I would lose. Oki's just sent me a really cute GIF, I think. But yeah, it was adorable. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Let's see. What's this? Nick Rookie says, many MMOs are built for time and type of players. This can change the grind, quotey fingers, and challenges, while many convert that time sink into sprint play, where AOC is looking to find a happy middle ground, e.g. the games back in my day. The games back in my day did not have things like Wowhead type sites. We had to walk up the internet both ways to get to our information.
Miranda says, off topic, but what did you think of the kitty mount?
I want one.
I was watching Lukey at the time, at the same time I was watching the actual live stream. But she was like, oh my gosh, I have to get this. How do I get this? Apparently she has a cat that looks just like that one.
Nice.
So that was really cute. But yeah, no, I like it. And the stream around that part got really weird. Because Steven started talking about how you get it, which is, you know, apparently, according to Steven, breeding a house cat with a bear.
Now, I haven't gotten to that part of the live stream yet, but...
Yeah, it was an awkward statement that made everybody kind of go, what? Okay. But I mean, it was...
Steven,
that's why we love him. But that's why we love him. Says what's on his mind.
Also, anatomically, there should not be a cat that comes up yay high from the ground.
But I'm glad there is.
Right.
But actually, it does look like a Maine Coon. Yeah. Those things are massive.
That brings up a good question that I have, actually. So, dwarves can't have buster swords, level of swords, but there are cats that are this big in human scaling. What are your thoughts on that? Yeah, bareback hearing. That was horrible. I was like, where's this going? The following thing they showed after the giant cat that was this big was a very rocky, like crystallized mount, but they had one picture without a saddle on it, and they're like, yeah, please don't rate this without a saddle. And it just went crazy for me. Like I said, it got weird around that time of the stream. But
well, I don't know. What do you think of that?
Going on the dwarves conversation, not too sure what to say to that. I think buster swords are kind of out of place in Ashes of Creation to begin with, just because like that's a very Asian style MMO aesthetic.
The main thing I was getting at the buster sword is like you know how like Cloud is like a normal size human, and then the buster sword is the same size as him. It's more like scaling that I was getting at, not a physical buster sword being in the game, but like a small dwarf will not have a larger race's level of sword, if that makes any sense.
Basically, it could be realistic if a dwarf got a hold of a Renkai sized sword. And it was literally just laying on the ground because that guy died a moment ago.
Well, yeah, but it's more, you kind of want a consistent aesthetic for a specific race. It starts to look a little silly when you have a creature wielding a weapon that's 3 times the size of it, because then why couldn't you have a Renkai who could have a giant size sword, and people are going to start asking for that, and you start getting to ridiculous levels of scale. Why would you permit it for the small race if you're not going to permit it for the large race?
Yeah, that makes sense.
For some reason, as you were...
Go ahead, sorry.
Go ahead. No. I was going to say, for some reason, as you were saying that, I just imagined a Renkai going up to like a dead dragon, stealing its claw and like attaching it to a tree trunk to swing around.
Yeah,
and that's its new weapon. Like Monster Hunter style weapon.
Can you swing a Scottish broadsword? I know many that can't even pick it up. Yeah, and that's a good point. It was just
freaking huge.
Poking at like that level of like the Maine Coon cat mount is the size of like a small horse, I guess, for human. But the sword being a larger sword for a larger race is too big for a dwarf is out of the question. It's just a provoking thought. I'm not really for it. I just asking a question just for conversation's sake, I think.
Yeah. And I had oh, go ahead.
I'll just phrase it this way. In a world of Magic where you can have all sorts of fantastic creatures, I have a lot more buy-in on believing that there is a horse-sized cat than I do a person wielding a tree-sized sword in comparison to them. That's...
I mean, fair enough. I mean, that's always been my go-to when somebody says, I don't see how that's possible. That breaks my immersion. You are in a game where you can summon people from other realms. What else is beyond the imagination? Seriously. Come on.
Yeah.
But, yeah, touching on one of the comments in chat there from Ashes of Nerer. I wonder, though, we talk about modern MMO players as if the old school MMO players don't exist anymore. I think those most are still around and just waiting for a modern MMO with an old school mindset. Totally agree. My comparisons there were mainly saying if you literally took somebody from old school and dropped them in today without anything in the middle, without playing anything in the middle, they would feel like they're in a whole other world, and vice versa. Like having there being like the whole boiling frog thing, if you put them in the water and start to boil it, they won't jump out because they get used to it along the way. But if you just drop them right in, they're going to hop out real quick.
And as Ashes also says, it's funny where different people draw the line at realism in fantasy games and theater. Just to make this point, you can swim in full armor.
Yeah. Yep.
So, yeah.
I'm waiting for my Legend of Zelda iron armor that makes me sink to the bottom of the ocean. You can just walk around. Tongue.
Nikroki says, I loved when people had issues with the raptors when we have dragons. And see, that's just funny. It's like, what is your ideal of this fantasy thing? Because the reality is, like, yeah, there were dinosaurs, if you will, a long time ago. And what is a dragon? A kind of a dinosaur, if you look at it.
It's what dinosaurs wish they could be.
Yeah, exactly. It's the dinosaur imagination right there.
It's also where we got the idea of dragons from. People took dinosaur bones, put them together in weird configurations, and were like, behold, a dragon.
It breathes fire.
Yeah.
It's not even alive. How do you know it breathes fire? It just does.
Speaking of creatures and craziness and what they can do.
Yes.
How many of you have seen this Reddit post where somebody went through and did speed trials of all the mounts?
Oh my gosh. Yes, that is one of my favorites to see. It was so interesting. Oh man. I like the fact that somebody did that. Like, I didn't even think about doing that. So kind of cool.
They went through and did speed trials of everything, and it's official. There is only one mount that is slower than the player character. That's the Tide Snapper, which is also the absolute hands down fastest in the water too, so.
Yeah. That's kind of crazy. So clearly you have mounts that can be used for either, but you definitely have mounts that are like obviously better suited for certain climates or terrains rather.
I did not realize that there was that much of a variance between the speeds of the mounts.
It's crazy, right?
Neither
it's kind
did
of
I.
interesting.
I really didn't realize that either.
Yeah, horrendous. You watched this one? Nice, nice, nice.
Oh, the Fox of the Pyre is so low on that list. That's insulting.
Is it because it's pretty? You wanted it to be faster?
I was trying to figure out how they actually like ordered them. I think it was just based on whatever one they bumped into numbers for first.
Because it's not even like alphabetical or in numerical increments.
Okay, I was actually reading this wrong. So from my perspective, that the Fox of the Pyre would actually be near the top because it's faster. Okay.
Yeah. It's one of the
lower
faster
the number,
ones,
the faster it is, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's tied for fourth place.
I think so. For those of you who have not seen this, the player character is ranked at 160 for land speed, and the Tide Snapper is 174 for land speed, and let's see what's the fastest here. The Eagle Mount is 35. The Fox of the Pyre is 48, and that's all land speed. Character water speed is 15. The Tide Snapper is 7. Goodness. The Fox of the Pyre Mount is 23, so I guess slower than a human would be. But then there's the Shimmering Cyan, which is also 11, so faster than players. It's kind of crazy. Think of it like golf. Lower equals better. Yeah.
Yeah. I like how bears are pretty fast swimmers.
Yeah.
I mean that makes sense.
Jinx.
Though the brew bear being faster than the regular bear.
I don't buy that one. Maybe he does have floaties on him. He's got,
He's
giant...
tipsy. He's having more fun with it. All right. He's there for the enjoyment factor.
How fast can you go 0 to 60?
Yeah, but how buoyant are kegs full of rum? I mean, come on now.
I mean, when a ship crashes, the kegs often float in the water.
I mean, if somebody was doing a proper job of drinking it along the way, they're probably half empty.
Well, now we know why the rum's gone.
Don't underestimate drunken.
So the bear can float.
Hey, there's a reason why we had the drunk monk as a tank in WoW, right?
I'm just saying. I think you're onto something there, Liat. We've solved the years-old question of why is all the rum gone. The rum is all gone, so the bear can float.
Oh my gosh.
Figured it out. You heard it here first.
So Vertec found a video that kind of synapsed the A1 pretty well. And I will let him elaborate as I share this to chat.
Yeah, I saw the name on stream earlier today. So I'm just talking to dev folks during the live stream. And so when I went searching around for just Ashes of Creation videos to watch, I saw the name and said, hey, let me check it out. And for one, I love how the guy's sitting in the middle of the woods with a stick that has a pop filter on it.
To be honest, I paused the video and I studied that for a minute. I'm like, wait a minute.
What's going on here? But yeah, either way, also his voice sounds nothing like what he looks like. It's one of those surprising things that shocked me for a good minute of the video. Like, wow, his voice is deep. But yeah, it was one of the best succinct and concise. This is what Alpha 1 was all about, and what was good and bad and stuff that I bumped into. A lot of them take 30 or 45 minutes to say the same stuff that this guy did in 7.5 minutes, I think it was. Yeah. But hey, might have an up and coming Ashes content creator that does some good stuff in a quicker format.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of that content creator initiative, by the way?
I will let you know when I see the other side of it.
I really like it, actually. I like
think it's cool,
the entire concept.
I just I would like to see how it works out on the other side. I mean, right now it's just a long line of waiting. It's line con essentially. It's line con for Ash's content creation.
About right.
Do you guys think they'll be able to actually like meet the expectations that the community has for like helping them out? And because I think people are going to be trying to use this for like a vessel of becoming big.
Yeah,
and I don't think that's
I think they do have stuff in place for that though, because if you're like they're looking at your content and seeing like what all is going on with the content. But then there's also some people who literally I have spoken with them and they've said I applied with the hope of getting into the training camp, not the main thing, because I would definitely love some direction on how to like do better content. So it's interesting. I wish honestly that there had been a toggle that said which one are you more interested in, because if for the people that are like, hey, I know that I don't have anything that is like super amazing in terms of content creation, then at least they would be able to say, but I am interested in learning, I'm interested in growing as a content creator, which honestly is why I love having BCG's content creation exchange Discord. What's it called? Ash's CC exchange. So.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm definitely interested in the camp as well, if only to better learn how to like market a channel and stuff like that.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea for a training camp checkbox. Yeah, I mean, hey, how are you, Tobias? I honestly feel like that's a good thing because like it helps a little bit. What's the benefit of content creator? Just info before others hear it. You
yes,
get
no.
Actually, they still have the Twitter pin up. I will go grab that while you guys chat.
Yeah, it's yes and no. It's you get info before others hear it, so you can prepare content for it. But you also, for one, get a chance to get more like questions directly to the devs. So I'm sure they're going to have a little bit of that. Yeah, there's the actual link to it that describes everything. But from memory here, I believe there's going to be a little bit more chance to ask devs direct questions and actually get more of an answer to it. I have conversations with them a little bit more, have the chance to, when they go to say they want to appear on podcasts and whatnot and YouTube videos, they'll reach out to their content creators, the official content creators, and say, hey, we're interested in being in a show. When's the open availability? Keys to give people cosmetics and things like that for contest. They even said that, and this is the part that made me go, what? Is that they're going to have like gaming gear, like keyboards and mice and stuff like that. Just saying, I want some official Ashes gear.
Yeah, I mean, I already have some official. I was actually really sad. Tangent, sorry, but like the original hoodies they had, I had bought one for Vertec and I before we. Wait, was this before we became a couple? Were we already a couple at this point?
Yeah, pretty sure. I think it was like right away because they stopped selling physical merch like very soon after they started. Like they sold it. They sold stuff for packs, and then that was it.
That was it. Yeah. So my hoodie broke. It ripped, and now I need a new one, and they don't have any. I'll just swing my AOC content now, and then you do mine. Give me a what?
They swing by AOC content now and then and asking if we can give a TLDR on the conversation for the day. And the alpha in general. So we covered a lot of different conversations today. We don't really have one specific thing that we stick to. Our focus is on this person right here, our guest. We bring a guest on and let them talk more about what they're doing and whatnot. And we just kind of chit-chat on stuff.
Yeah. Marsha's supposed to be coming out to this. Yes.
Oh, I know, Bartik.
By the way, Bartik, I'm mad. I'm mad at you. I was preparing to raid you. And then you went offline. Yay, plushies. Yes, I agree. Hi, Wizzy. Welcome back. Don't feel bad, Brie. My brain also broke trying to read that. Okay, thank you, Lord. I'm sorry.
I cannot tell you how many dollars I would spend on a Fox at the Pyre plushie.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh, I want one so bad.
Yeah. Cannot wait. But
we did a joint show today. Nice.
just playing BattleTech. Oh my gosh, I haven't heard that name in forever.
That is a franchise that still exists, yes.
So this is Liat.
Yep.
Can you just reintroduce yourself as a good, I guess, follow-up on the conversation?
So yes, my name's Liat. I'm a content creator. I've been around for quite a while. My content is a bit sporadic just because the content I really focused on making is very lore-based, very story-based stuff that can't really be produced until the game comes out.
Yeah. But
Or
we had
until
him on 2 years ago, and now we have him on.
Or until they let loose their death grip on some of the lore stuff. Because they did for a minute. There was some stuff to cover.
Like during the Halloween time that's coming up when they do the amazing charity streams on my birthday. Cyan, great choice of color, I approve. Oh well, thank you, Wizzy. You have the Wizzy approval.
Thank you.
So yeah, but Tobias, we really enjoy talking about people within the community. Specifically, we wanted to get Liat back on again because we haven't had him on since, well, when we first made the Golden Feather Tavern, which was back in 2019. And a whole lot has changed since then. Just wanted to get his perspective on the difference in 2019, was it APOC stuff to currently post Alpha 1 stuff, and a lot of stuff. Let's see if the charity can break another record. Yes, Necrokeys.
Yes. But yeah, I was really surprised. Speaking of the APOC, the apocalypse thing, which by the way, for those that don't know, maybe Tobias, the APOC thing was supposed to be what happened to the world before everyone left, which obviously means it was before they returned, which is what the game is supposed to be centered around when it launches full. They released a lot of lore in the APOC. Like weekly, they had a whole block of lore that they dropped out, which was fantastic. Which is when Liat was, up and kicking and like doing a bunch of really cool lore
Lots
stuff.
Of lore
and
stuff.
then that dried up.
And even the stuff I was doing was mostly just improv, like making some of my own stuff up just to get something out there and like get an idea of what I wanted to do later down the line.
Yeah.
But it's alright.
Oh, well, look who it is, RoboGamer. Hi. I see this is a bunch of lore stream. Not really. Just him. He's more like, we like having different people on for different things. So we have him on for lore. We had last time, goodness, who did we have on last? It was 2 weeks ago already. Wow, Keybind Gaming.
We're gonna get lore on for being a smartass. I mean, funny guy.
Yeah. We had Keybind Gaming on because he's new in the content creation. We have Paradox Gaming on because of his factual take on things.
Because he knows everything about ashes.
I'm the smartass reporting for duty. But yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, we have a different guest on like every week. We have some repeats, but not 2 weeks in a row. So every week is somebody different, and they all have different focuses. Like we got BCG because Lotus Salt and whatnot. We get some people who aren't even content creators. They're just members of the community that everybody knows.
Oh no, Tavernside Gaming, I miss him.
Oh, Tavernside.
Oh yeah, didn't he leave the community?
He stepped down from streaming. He's just doing written stuff currently.
Okay.
Yeah. I think he's gonna be changing up his focus of content.
We had Steven on before Ashes
or something.
I think we'd like to get Steven on again, but I think our priority before that happens is getting caught up on videos again.
Which honestly, at least a day or two next week is probably going to be dedicated to getting some of those done.
Thank you. I forgot that I was doing face cam, so I didn't put my purple on. But yeah, I have a what do you call those things? Partition. He has a partition, and then Liat, goodness, doesn't have a cam because Liat prefers no cam. Liat is a Firefly.
I do have some sound foam, but you can't see it.
Womp womp. Yeah, I need to get some of that around here.
But yeah. So, to wrap some stuff up, there was a lot of interesting stuff on the live stream today, but they did not give us a date for Alpha 1, or sorry, Alpha 2, my bad. They said that they're not currently ready to give that kind of information, but they did have a lot of really pretty things, including the giant cat and then a purpley bird thing that I think Vertec would just really love. So yeah.
I love me the Thunderbird.
The Thunderbird.
Oh, the Thundering Beast.
That's the cool thing. They were talking that as you level your mount after you get the right mount for gliding and stuff like that, you can actually increase how far you glide and stuff like that. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I think that was the first time they explicitly talked about leveling mounts.
Yeah. Outside of the joke of the crystal mount pooping crystals at the highest tier.
I think they may have mentioned it before, but it was kind of a passing one. It was during one of the conversations they were talking about, or Steven was talking specifically about the mounts having different skills. Mm-hmm. And I think, I could be totally wrong, it might be that whole memory thing. They say it changes over time and whatnot, and is influenced by everything you see. But I think I remember him saying something about having to level it up and it'll get better, but I could be wrong there. I just do know he mentioned like different mounts will have different skills, so you won't always ride the same mount.
The small side, speaking of the glittering geode, I don't know if you guys know Danny at all, but that thing petrifies him. He does not like the glittering geode.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Jeez.
You've just given me the great thing. I need to stalk him.
Oh man.
So we're talking about Danny Phantom, right? D Phantom?
Yes, D Phantom.
Okay.
Oh, I love D Phantom.
Yep.
He's awesome.
I'm gonna stalk him with that then.
Oh,
maybe it'll get me some. I don't know. Would that give me an advantage in PvP against him, or a disadvantage because he would?
You get advantage. He's terrified.
It could go either way. He might just target you.
He might rage. He might invoke rage and get advantage. You never know.
I'm curious which way that's gonna go.
I get the feeling unless something else breaks, we'll see pre-alpha 2 testing in early November. That would be really nice, Necropies, because that's when my birthday is. Random questions for you all. Do you think Intrepid would reinstate the NDA for pre-A2 testing? I hear some streamers saying that, but it just doesn't make sense for them to me for them to do it. That's a good question. They could, they couldn't. If they did, it might be because of things being broken to when they're trying to control the release of information for A2, like pre-A2, I could see that being a thing, but I don't know. I don't think so.
I suspect there will be some NDA PI testing going into A2.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's going to be, even if it's outside of PI, like I'm pretty sure there's going to be some NDA on some stuff, because it might just be like they might be putting in some stuff that they want to be a big aha for everybody. Like, oh my gosh, they did the thing. But they're not ready for it to be that aha moment because they're still kind of tweaking it. So that's my feeling on it.
That's pretty much what I was getting at. Yeah.
Yeah, I can also say with a degree of certainty that there'll probably be NDAs on PI testing for APOC Castle Siege and APOC. What was the other one? Horde mode.
Yeah, the Horde mode. Yeah, definitely. Until he makes a video for that one, that's going to be under wraps.
Yeah. Robo was saying that it would be cool to see an aura on each mount if you max it out or something like that. That would be kind of cool. I can see some NDA PI testing for sure. First rule of testing, there's an NDA on the NDA.
But there is nothing going on, so I'm not under NDA.
Yeah, right. Okay, cool. But yeah, I think overall, to surmise your conversation from what we had before in 2019 to now, how do you feel in a quick and simple synopsis of the overall improvement or development of the game? How do you feel about it? Is it going in the right direction? Is it what you're expecting? Is it not what you're expecting but better? How do you feel?
Oh, it's mostly going in a direction that I'm very happy with. I mean, granted, all the fun, like I said before, all the fun toys that I really want to try just aren't there yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm definitely excited about the direction of the game. I'm very eager to see, everything that they pull out. I've enjoyed everything I've touched so far. I've enjoyed everything I've watched so far. I can't wait to see what comes around the next horizon.
It's kind of nice to catch up with you after like such a long distance, because we do this week by week, so we see minor differences, but having that, so the last time we talked, we were in like APOC, how are you feeling about things conversation. It's just kind of nice.
Yeah.
Take a step back, look at the overall picture,
And I want my lore.
Give me a lore. Give us charity streams.
Bring it back.
That just means we have to beat last year's charity stream even harder to get all the lore. We got to beat the lore pinata, if you will.
I can't be the next Vati Vidya if there's no lore.
Should we reiterate what we said at the beginning about like updates since more people are here now?
All
right. So just to reiterate, for occurrences with the podcast, Vertec and I are part of a D&D session that we do on Mondays on my channel. We are working on making the streams more enjoyable and would really appreciate your feedback. If there's no feedback, we just kind of sit there like twiddling our thumbs being like, so what do you think would be better? I don't know. So yeah, having your feedback would be much more useful for us. And we found a few potential people to get some emotes from. My channel is Cheapy Bree. Just like my name is spelled, Cheapy Bree. It's all in one word. Yeah. I know. I always type on the golden feather, so you don't see that anymore. But yeah, and I think wrap up and go raid somebody. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. And another reminder that I may not be on the podcast next week.
But I will definitely be here.
Yeah, Miss Chibi's going to, but I'm gonna be on a walkabout. Or a ride about. I'll be on my motorcycle going vroom. Yeah. So,
you deserve it, Vertec.
Yes.
Oh, why thank you. First vacation, like actual like vacation without a purpose besides to relax in like years. I think like 5. It's been
they say safe travels. Thanks for the stream. Have fun on your vacation.
Thank you. And
I'll be here next week though with Cabal. Just putting that out there.
Before I say the goodbyes on my behalf, Celeste, would you like to say anything to the lovely people here?
Well, it was nice getting to know you all. It was nice re-meeting, a couple of my old friends. Nice chatting with you. It's been a long time, and I can't wait to do this again sometime.
I agree.
Once you get more lore, it'll be a much more exciting conversation.
Oh, yes.
Sure.
Yes.
I'm much more excited, I should say. I mean, new stuff is new stuff.
I'll have a lot more to say.
Yeah. I always love lore, but Steven is just keeping it straight to his chest.
Yeah. But, good conversations is good conversations, but I'm sure there'll be a lot more joy in your voice. You'll be like, the thing and the stuff.
Look at this new lore I learned. Last time we were live. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, I've got a video up about, there being a fused claw on one of the cursed charger's foot. So, I mean, I really get into the minute details of that kind of stuff.
As you should, as somebody should at least. And if you're that person, so be it. I'll be checking out your stuff for sure. I mean, I'm going to anyway, but.
So last time we were live about 2 weeks ago, we raided Zillin and 10 Man. We thought tonight would be fun to go ahead and raid Simurg because it's been a while and we should definitely share some love with one of the few people that have kind of convinced us into doing a podcast and has been there from the beginning for us. And he's doing some ESO stuff. But yes, thank you. As I get this ready, thank you so much, Liat, for joining. Liat, geez, I need to stop for joining us. It was really nice to have you back on. I am so grateful that you were open to coming back on again.
Anytime, Bree.
And I can't wait to get more lore.
Dum. Yes, everybody in chat here and hanging out with us, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for hanging out with us and contributing to some conversation. Your inputs and little tidbits here and there in the talks were very much appreciated. You could have been doing anything with your life. You could have invented a new pizza. Who knows? Z would have loved you for that, I know. But you were here. So until next time, we love you. And see you then.
Yes. See you next week.
Bye-bye.